Okay, welcome to Unit 5, Arrays. Today we're going to be talking about 1D arrays, and in the next video will be on 2D arrays and then array lists. So let's get started. Right here I have a simple program created. I have the java.util star, and that's mainly for a scanner. Okay. Declare arrays. There's a couple ways to declare array. One, we could do explicitly, and this is how you'll declare it. If you go int scores bracket equals brace 95 comma 56 comma 76 comma 58 brace semicolon, and that is integer, and that's one way to declare arrays explicitly. Okay, that's if you know exactly what's going to be in that array. Here's another example with string name, and I go Bob, Sue, and Sam. Okay, and let's just do a for each. The for each loop of an array is really good to use if you just want to transverse an array. And a for each says for array name, for each n, basically each element in name, go ahead and output n. Okay, so let's go ahead and run it, and I should get Bob, Sue, Sam. Okay, so I build my file, process complete, no errors, and go ahead and run it, and I get Bob, Sue, and Sam, okay, as my output. And that is a simple for each loop, and that's one way of declaring arrays. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove this comment for this section. And another way to declare arrays is like this, with a bracket here before the names and then a bracket after the names. Okay, so you have string bracket first comma last. First and last will be arrays. Notice we declare them, but we didn't create them. Same way with first one and last one. Okay, I had to give them different names because I can't use two first, so that's why I have first one, last one. Okay, and these are individual arrays. Both of them are created. Again, they are created, but they are not, or I'm sorry, they are declared, but they are not created. Okay, if you want to declare and create, you simply create an array, scores A, since I use scores up here, I'm going to call this one scores A, equals new int, since this is an int, this has to be an int, and size 10. Okay, so this could hold 10 elements. Same way with float, prices equals new float 500. This could hold 500 prices. And same way with codes. This could hold 1,750. Okay. Now again, these have been declared. They have been created, but now they don't have value. But by default, we give them values. If it's a numeric term like double or int, they get 0. If it's a boolean, it automatically gets false. And if it's an object, it gets null. So the first two will be 0 or 0.0 in each element. Okay. And again, everything else will follow these criteria. Okay, here we have Boolean flags. Okay, we declared it. And again, here I prompt the user, how big is your array? So I could go ahead and declare it, prompt the user for a size, they type in X, and X will go ahead and create flags, okay, of size X. So maybe you want to declare your arrays first and then give them a size later, where the person will type in, this is how big I want the array. This is how you'll do it. Okay. And another thing is here we have int len equals scores dot length. Okay. Now this is going to go off of this scores up here. Because that's what scores is. 1, 2, 3, 4. And len will be 4, and we're output 4. Okay. So let's go ahead and run this part. And how big is your array? I'll give 10. And again, scores was 4. Okay. Okay. So again, I prompt this X. This went and created this flags. Let's try something a little bit different. Let's go flags dot len, and let's see what we get for that one. So I build it, run the file, and 10, which is flags, and notice it creates 10. And if I would output it, I should get 10 falses. Okay, that's a default value. Okay, so this is how you could declare array up here. Here's you declare and create, and here you declare and prompt the user and create it later. Okay, and again we need to know len, so when we do loops we could find the length of the array and we could loop to that many. Okay, okay, last but not least, let's go ahead and try this one down here. We have scores B equals 95, 56, 76, 58. I did a simple for each loop just to show you that actually it does scores. It doesn't do scores B. So let's change this to scores B. Okay, so it should output 95, 56, 76, 58. And again, this one here I create int count 0. Count is 0 less than scores B, length, and I'm putting it again. Okay, this time I'm doing with a while loop. Okay, and I'm using length. Okay, and I want it less than the length because remember 0 counts as 1. Length will tell me 10, and it goes from 0 to 9. And this should output system output scores B. Okay, and I increase count. So this should output this basically array twice. So I build it, I run it. Okay, here's Bob, Sue, Sam from up above. How big was your array? It was 10. That was with the flags. And then we output it to flags again. And then here notice 95, 56, 76, 58. That's these right here. And again, we did 95, 56, 76, 58. That was the while loop. That was this that created it. So we outputted it twice. One with a for each loop and one with just a general loop. If you're editing a array, you want to use a while loop. For loops is mainly for transversing. So that means if you would just want to go ahead and just output an array, a for each loop does that. But if you want to edit an array, it's probably better to do a while loop, for loop, something like that. Let's go to passing methods. Okay, I just put it on Word here. If you're going to pass an array, let's say here you have to declare it. This will be in your class somewhere. Public void swap int array. This tells me an array is coming in. Because if I just put int x, it's going to tell me it's a x integer value. Here it just tells me it's an array. Notice there's no numbers in the bracket. If I'm in main program and I want to call this swap method that's in my class, all I do is go object.swap and then I put the name of the array. Notice there's no brackets. Okay, I just put the name of the array in, and then it comes in as x. Okay, so here's a simple swap method. Public void swap int bracket a, that's my array. Passing in 2 values. Okay, and those are basically the indexes that I want to swap. I create a temp. I put I into temp, and I put j into I now, and I put temp into j. And notice there's no return. It's void because remember arrays are passed by reference. So any changes I make to A, okay, affects the array in main. Okay, so since this is passed by reference and it's coming in as A, any changes to A changes whatever array it was in main that was passed in here. Okay, so let's say you had an array of scores in main and you pass scores, something like this, object swap. Let's see, let's do this. Scores is my array, and I'm passing in 2, 3. I want to switch those two positions. So that's what it would look like in main. Remember, I just put the name of the array. Now score comes in as A. So basically A and scores both point to the exact same array. So any changes done to A will change scores. That's in main. Okay. So both A and scores point to that array. Okay. After swap is made, if I look at scores, the swap will be made in scores. Okay. Basically this wraps up one-dimensional arrays. Our next video will probably be two-dimensional arrays. So go ahead and read through the chapters. I have some books online that covers arrays. Read through those. If you have any questions, see me or watch this video again. And then have a nice day programming. Enjoy.